Kathe Kollwitz was a German expressionist known for her works depicting the hardships of the poor. Expressionism was a movement which gained prominence in the early 20th century, particularly in Europe, as a means of expressing internal emotions in art. This was in stark contrast with movements like Dada, which emphasized the absurd, or the old academic painting, which emphasized paintings of historical significance depicting war heroes or mythological figures. In Germany in particular, a country impacted more harshly than others by 20th century conflicts, artists produced a distinctive form of expressionism, characterized by distortions of form and expressions of despair. Kollwitz, as a woman, offered a unique, sometimes quite personal perspective on the social and political conflicts of Europe in the early 20th century. She studied at the Union of Berlin Women Artists and specialized in printmaking. Memorial sheet of Karl Liebknicht is a woodcut print, a choice of medium consistent with Kollwitz's working-class sympathies. Prints were much more accessible than paintings or sculptures, because they could be widely disseminated among people of lesser means. This scene, like much of Kollwitz's work, is highly emotional and presents a personal perspective on political events. Karl Liebknecht was a member of the German Communist Party, who, along with Rosa Luxemburg, organized a protest against the leading Social Democratic Party. The protesters were crushed by the SPD, leading to the death of Liebknecht. He was recognized as a martyr for communists, and thus Kollwitz, not a communist herself, but nonetheless recognizing Liebknecht's appeal, has styled this scene as a lament, in the fashion of early Christian artwork. The print's stark contrast highlights the saddened expressions of the mourners' faces, and those in the center draw attention to the body in that they are inclining towards it. Two of these figures, a mother and child, represent a recurring theme in Kollwitz's work, and show a different side of political conflict than we are used to seeing in art. This piece is also progressive in other ways. By 1920, the year in which this work was produced, grand historical works and hero worship had gone out of fashion. The European psyche had been forever changed by World War I, which was a particularly destructive conflict. Germany, who had lost the war, entered a period of political unrest and economic downturn. Thus, Kollwitz, true to her time, emphasizes the poor, despairing workers just as much, if not more so, than Liebknecht himself. Kollwitz's focus on these poor mourners and their hardships make this a work that transcends the political to become extremely personal and extremely emotionally affecting, just as with many of her other works.